Okay, I'd like to welcome you all to the village board meeting, 7 o'clock, Monday, June 12th, 2023. We'll have a roll call of officers. Open meeting, law compliance check. We all please stand for a pledge of allegiance in a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay, now we got public input. I think we pretty much covered that, huh?
Yeah, we can skip that part.
So,
Is there anyone from the business representative here today?
yes.
Yeah, my name is Brady Ingles. I own Retro Speed and I own Shed Real Estate LLC.
Okay. Then we'll move on to the Belgium Chamber of Commerce report.
We did our live June 2nd. Night, the chamber and we also have questions. Sunday, July. He'll be.
Just one comment, the first one was a lot of fun. It was great to see the community turn out to see the new park. It was great.
The new park, by the way, is fantastic. So thank you.
It's really
guys
nice.
for all your work. Concession stand. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
What's the date of the second one?
July 21st.
Okay, thank you. Next, we'll move on to the village marshal report.
Okay, for me, we had one dumpster violation, and I had to make a call to get some box springs and mattresses removed from the curbside. They were there for 2 or 3 days, and finally got a hold of the landowners, and they got them cleaned up. And also sent a letter to the people at 100 Main Street with all our trash in the driveway. I also stopped and talked to him, and that was cleaned up within 4 days. So that was taken care of, and I also registered 2 golf carts in May. And we also sent another letter out for getting the trash cleaned up by the old laundromat. So hopefully that gets taken care of. Soon the landowner gets a hold of it. That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Now I'd like to make a motion for 8A, B, C, and D. Make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And we'll go to 9A, discussion of possible action regarding village's housing ratio goals as it relates to ordinance number 4-23.
When we were originally asked regarding our housing ratios, the numbers that we tracked them all along, we had been tracking multifamily by the number of properties, not the number of housing units. But the way that the comprehensive plan is written, as well as how it is tracked, it should be tracked by housing unit. When we recalculated it, we are outside of the recommended ratios in the comprehensive plan. I would like to point out that, and this was discussed at great length in the latest municipality magazine, that a lot of communities have very outdated, like we do, housing ratios. And right now, there is such a huge demand for multifamily properties that, you know, the league and other organizations are strongly recommending that communities reevaluate and don't stick to those rigid rules, because there's such a housing shortage and demand for that particular kind of housing right now. So, right now we are at a 11% on multifamily. And, single family is at 72%. Duplex is at 10%. Condominium, duplex is at 7%. That's the only one that is within the recommendations currently. We are under on our duplexes, from what, I'm sorry, the recommended, the objectives. Our objective is 65% single family, 16% duplex, 7% multifamily, and 9% condominium duplex. So, you know, it's up to the board. The property was approved conditional upon the discussion of the housing units. But that is not a rule, that is just simply a recommendation in the plan, in the comprehensive plan. So it's really up to the board whether or not you want to stop this project because of the housing ratios, but, you know.
Vicki, just for clarity, aside from violating our own imposed master plan, is there any other external authorities that we are in violation of with any of these?
No, absolutely not. These are not rules. They're not, they were simply guidelines put in 20 years ago based on trends at the time. But the municipality magazine, you know, they had a long article on this, and what they said is that most communities are reevaluating these all right now because of the shortage of multifamily housing that is existing across the US. And these old ratios were based on old-fashioned ideals of what was wanted. So again, it's completely up to the board to decide if you want to, you know, approve it based on the recommendation.
These numbers were established in 2010.
A little bit earlier, you know. They started the process in 2007, and it was finalized late 2009. So, you know, that's a long time ago in terms of economic changes. And that's why we are redoing the comprehensive plan right now. This is one of the things that is going to be looked at in greater depth through the plan commission.
So, sorry, Vicki, just you threw a lot of numbers at me at once.
Yes.
So, the project in question is condos, right?
It is, for
They're
multifamily, there are four
Or multifamily?
unit buildings, and there was
How much over are we versus the plan
So
with that kind of residence?
We're already over.
we're at 11%.
Yeah, how much over?
4%.
We're 4% over?
So
Yeah.
So 5% over ratio.
Well,
So if we were to, the other factor that has to be considered is, does it benefit empty properties when there's demand for people to visit?
I guess my question too is, it didn't come up when we went from 7 to 11.
No, because we were tracking it wrong.
Oh,
Right.
okay,
So the numbers that we were using were the numbers the assessors give us,
got it.
and they only go by property, not by realized, tracking this the way.
Got it. So it wasn't a question at that time.
At the time, we thought we were under.
Got it.
So who does if we want to change it, how do we change it? Is it planning commission that does it, or
So,
is it us, or?
yes and no, yes. Ultimately, yes, the board. So what is happening right now is the plan commission is working on a amendment to our comprehensive plan. We are reviewing the comprehensive plan, and once we are finished reviewing the current plan, we are going to start the process of having public meetings to talk about this stuff, and then eventually the plan commission will complete and recommend an amendment, which will then go to the board to approve, and there will be public hearings and all that kind of stuff as a part of the process.
What's the timeline on that right now?
Probably the beginning of next year. I mean, we'll start this year. We have started, but it's a long process.
So no action need be taken on this evening.
No, well, you really do, because the approval of the building permit was made contingent upon the housing ratio being.
Well,
within,
that
so-
being said, then I make the motion that we approve the building permit,
Approve the. I'm sorry, the.
right,
ordinance.
the ordinance. See, I thought you were saying that planning commission had to do that, but,
This is, no, that's correct. I spoke wrong. It's for the rezoning of the
Okay.
property from,
B2.
B2 to multifamily residential.
then I make that motion that, we rezone it to multifamily.
I'll second it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. At this time, I'd like to recognize Treasurer Vicky Bayline for 5 years of service. Thank you very much.
Good luck.
That's also a contract for 5 more years.
Okay. Approve Plan Commission's recommendation to approve ordinance number 03-23 rezoning 1001 Main Street, tax key number 18-050-06-04-001 to be rezoned from RD1 Single Family Residence District to B1 Business District, contingent upon Plan Commission approval of a conditional use permit application. Barry, do you want to
Yeah.
answer some of the questions you heard?
Absolutely. I don't know if the board or- However you want to do it. Been in business with Retro Speed in Belgium for 17 years. I don't want to leave them. Not keep up. As far as problems that we've created, I've never once in the 7 years have building. Property. The last 40 years that I know as a business property, it's always been zoned residential. It's always been used as a business property. It is going to be for the sale and storage of motorcycles. There won't be customers directed there. There won't be traffic directed there. All traffic will stay at 1000 Main Street. Somebody that's interested in purchase of a motorcycle will be walked over there to view the motorcycle. As far as the storage of motorcycles, we will be transporting the motorcycle. The customer will drop it off at 1000. We transport it over to 1001 Main at that point. As far as the value and decreasing the home's value in the area, I honestly don't buy that argument at all. The property right now looks like hell. If you come in to Belgium from the west, it is by far the worst looking property in this village. The shed is in terrible shape and needs to get torn down. But property owner, my mother, is not going to tear the shed down if we can't put anything up. For that, until that point, that shed is staying. We would be fools to tear it down if we can only have a grass lot from there on out. And I don't believe that myself or my mother has any interest on putting a house on that size lot. I need, in desperate need of more space, and that lot would work out very good. As far as looking into vacant properties in the village, we are also doing that as we speak. We have our eyes on a good vacant property and hope to close later this month as well. This property across the street has been of interest of mine for many years and would be run the same way we are running Retro D right now. I think that's all I have.
So just to be clear, your intention is, if so approved, that you will remove the shed and put a new structure up, is that
Yes.
correct? Okay.
Yes.
So I live pretty much directly across from the existing shed. And I can't say as though I was sad when I got that letter in the water bill. I'm like, I've looked at that for 20 whatever years. There's all sorts of little animals that live in there and come out of there. And like Paul and Stephanie, who live right across the street from me, said, I mean, kind of anything's better than looking at that all the time. My only concern is, you know, would the entrance to your building be then facing Main Street directly across from your existing building?
The entrance to the new building would be along Highway KW as far south as it can be.
So like right across from my drive.
Yes.
If I remember, the county will not let you put
Move
one,
it anywhere else.
put one
Yes.
on Main Street.
Yes.
So there,
The driveway is going to be,
not by
I would
choice.
assume, strikingly similar in position to where the driveway is right now. The driveway really wouldn't.
Okay.
However, that ultimately would probably be the 3 parking spots and then the building would start to the north of that.
You know, I've listened to you and I've listened to them. And, I know you mean, I know what you're saying, but I think that we need to listen to the people that live on that street and their wishes.
Live on which street? The
On
street that this is going on?
what?
The street that this is going on?
Yes,
Which would be Middle Road.
Well, technically, the property is on Main Street. It does not actually adjoin Middle Road because
Okay.
there is a property, a thin strip that's owned by the village in
Oh,
between.
that's right.
So it is technically only adjoining Main Street.
And as far as a couple of people mentioned, like a business plan or anything, it's Brady, right? Sorry, thank you. Has there been anything submitted to the plan commission, like what this might look like?
Yep.
Renderings, there was,
Yep.
okay. Does it take into account some of the feedback we have about positioning, landscaping, anything like that that would make it?
There is very tight requirements on the building. And it's not going to be an incredibly large building. It can't be. Has to be 8 feet off, you know, well, it has to be 8 feet off the county's, the village's right away on Highway KW. It has to be 8 feet off the neighbor's lawn, 27 feet off the back with, because of 3 parking spaces. And then, so it'd be a steel, single-story building with a small office in front. And we need to keep the office in the front in the line of the houses, so that would stick out. But it's not going to be a large building. There is a lot of hurdles as far as the size.
So those 3 parking spaces wouldn't be everyday traffic, right?
Honestly, there'll be no parking. If the village would allow me to have no parking lot, I would, but you have to. you have to.
It's another step of it.
And so you would also be maintaining the same staffing level you currently have?
Yes.
Okay.
As far as your, when you sell a motorcycle, people are gonna test drive it, they're gonna head out of town, they're not staying in the village, right?
Well, I think we tell them to stay away from South Street.
I would just, we haven't, we've
I mean,
never
but
heard of any.
Anybody that's gonna take bikes to ride, they're gonna head west or, you know, they're not gonna stick out the village.
KW is popular to leave town. I'm not even familiar with the road, but there's a road that runs east to west, that comes off of KW on the left. It's kind of an access road for Lakeside Foods. There's not a single address on that road. I will say we use that road a lot for, there's just no one out there ever.
Cedar Beach.
Yeah, we use Cedar Beach quite a bit. We do. There's not a single address in the lakeside traffic is very, very low. So we do go down Highway KW, no doubt about it. But it's usually headed to Cedar Beach.
I'll say I'm impressed with how many people came out from the residents.
Yes.
Usually we have something like this come up, nobody shows up.
Yeah.
We get nasty grams when things go through. And the lights, I do appreciate everybody showing. How long have you been in business?
17 years.
You're not obviously doing any like flashing lights on the building or like the marquee or,
No.
you're not gonna keep me up at night, are you?
I won't. I feel like what it boils down to, if you hated the last 17 years because what RetroSpeed did, you're gonna hate forward. If RetroSpeed hasn't bothered you in the last 17 years, we're not gonna start. It's the same business.
Right.
But we need to grow. We need to grow. And I want to stay in Belgium. I do not want to leave Belgium. Business works very, very well here. That being said, we need to grow. We need more space.
What impact, if any, on the plans for the lot under question would occur if the other property that you're looking at, if you do accept that, or are you looking to just branch out completely?
So I ultimately needed room really bad by November. Really,
Okay.
really bad. You can only tell a customer no 3-4
Right.
times. They're just gonna go somewhere else. And I wanted to have something built on this as quickly as possible. That being said, the whole process is very thorough here, but it takes some real time.
So you're looking at an either or for those lots, not a both of them?
I would say both of them.
Oh, okay.
This would, it takes the rush out of this lot, the panic, I need this now. But no, I would say both.
What would be your plans with that alternative lot if this goes through?
Use them both.
Okay,
There's a huge demand right now,
okay,
big demand.
okay, thank you for clarifying.
But nonetheless, we're trying. I understand vacant lots in business in Belgium.
Yeah.
Anything vacant, it can become an eyesore. And we're making a plan that way as well.
So you're not looking to move your business out of Belgium if this is not successful for you?
The only reason I would move out of Belgium is if I can't assume more space. Other than that, the 1,000 main property, I would like to retire on that property. That property's been very good to us, very good to us.
All right, I appreciate everyone's feedback. I'm gonna make a motion to approve the plan commission's recommendation contingent upon the conditional use permit, which I think we'll have to review again and get more public input on. But as a first, plan commission. Oh, okay, it doesn't.
I will second that motion.
the board will be voting on creating the conditional use
Right.
tonight. Once, if you do create that conditional use, then the plan commission will see whether they put the conditions in place for the use.
So that's 10C. That's the next one up, right?
Yes.
All right.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion on this?
No, no. Oh,
Oh,
sorry.
yeah, I second it, sorry.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed?
I,
Motion passes. Okay, then we'll move on to 10B, no, 10C. Approve plan commission recommendation to approve ordinance number 02-23 as requested by Shed Real Estate LLC to create the sales and storage of motorcycles as a conditional use in the B1 business district.
so moved.
I'll second
Okay.
it.
I think I already did this one, didn't
I don't know.
I? Well, anyway,
We're doing it again.
motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I,
Motion passes. Okay, we'll go on to 10D. Approve payment to Beekler Construction for invoice number 2931 and number 2932 for Community Park Shelter Concession Stand, total amount $76,780.28.
So moved.
Second,
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other input? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion passes. 10E, approve Public Utilities Committee's recommendation of an 8% water rate increase effective September 15, 2023.
So, we are eligible this year for a simplified rate case. For those of you who don't know how this works, there are two ways to increase water rates. There are only two ways. One is a simplified rate case, which you have to meet a financial criteria set by the Public Service Commission. If your utility meets that criteria, you can do an increase based on what they tell you, which is 8% this year. In the past, it's always been 3% as long as I've been here. This is the first time they've increased it, obviously, as a response to inflation. The other way to increase rates is through a conventional rate case, which is a very long-term process where we have to provide a lot of information to the Public Service Commission about our operations, our finances, everything. And then they determine our financial viability and come back and tell us what our rate has to be. Last time we did that, our rates went up, I want to say 40-some%, because we hadn't done an increase in so long. So after that, it has been recommended by our auditors that anytime we qualify for a simplified rate case, we should take it. And that is because in order to qualify, we have to be within we can't have a lot of extra money. We have to have a certain number of bills to cash flow ratio that shows that we need that increase. That's how they determine that. So part of the 5-year loan that we took out for our big utility upgrade project was that we knew we were going to be using a large amount of our fund balance for the water utility, and that we really need to increase when we can to rebuild that fund balance. So it is my recommendation that we do approve this increase this year. And I don't have, so on an average property, it will be about a $6 a quarter increase. So it's not a huge amount, even though 8% seems like a lot. It's really not. When you look at the actual numbers, that's on an average residential. So, any questions on that?
no,
Go into effect September 15th, so you wouldn't see the increase until your December bill.
well, I'll just make the comment that as probably one of the heavier water users in the community, that I'm not jazzed about this, but I support it because the alternative is double digit rate increases,
happening
so,
every week.
exactly. So I,
And we
for one,
actually did not
Yeah.
qualify for about 2 years now but now because we're eating into
right,
that fund balance, our financials aren't as strong. So, we really need to pay attention to that so that we don't have these huge increases, because that's much harder on people's budgets when you have huge increases.
well, even though my husband may well divorce me over this, I'm going to move that we approve the Public Utility Commission's, committee's recommendation of an 8%.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. I just keep looking at this. Do we really need the full 8% or could we go with 4%?
We don't have a choice.
It's
Yeah.
We do a
they
simple.
do.
what they tell
We're in control of this.
us.
Public service a very tight hand on anything water related in this state.
Yeah.
So we do not have a choice. We can either do 8% or do nothing. But then when we get to the point where we need to do a full one, we will be doing whatever they tell us we have to do.
We looked at other options at the
We did.
committee level. This was,
This is it.
this was like,
No, we absolutely can't pick and choose. It has to be what they say or nothing.
In terms of the fund balance, is there any other alternatives we have to offset that other than?
No,
increase?
utilities are revenue-based businesses, so they have to support all of their expenses through revenues. So you cannot use tax dollars toward public utilities. It is not allowed. It has to be all revenue-based.
Any other discussion? Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. Motion passes. Okay, then we'll go.
By the way, you said that before and you're still married.
Yeah.
I had another issue you and I discussed this time.
Okay, we'll go on to 10F. Approve Public Utilities Committee's recommendation to proceed with using Hago payment processing system.
So moved.
Second,
So wait a minute, I want to know what this is all about.
Okay, so I will. Right now. Don't have any problem with all paid. However, this new company started a couple of years ago. They're a nationwide company. They deal exclusively with municipalities. And what they will provide for us is they will allow our residents to be able to go online, look up how much they owe based with their account number or their address or their name. We have no ability right now for residents to look up what they owe. If they can't find their bill, they have to call us. That's the only way. So this will give them the ability to look at it. They can then decide to pay it right away. Or they can drop off a check if they don't want to pay a credit card fee. It will give us the ability to have a terminal at the counter where people can pay just by tapping their card or any of that stuff. Right now, it's a very time-consuming online portal. The fees are not more for the user. All they will be charging us is $600 per year. 1,200. 600 per year, and this year there's a one-time $600 setup fee.
Yeah.
If you guys approve this, this is going to be the first step in some other features that they have. We want to get started with them. It's something simple, which is the utilities. It interfaces with our accounting program very seamlessly. But they have a lot of other really neat features at a very affordable rate. They will allow us to do our building permits where it will walk the resident through every step of the process. It'll immediately notify the building inspector. They'll be able to upload any documents they need. The building inspector will be able to approve permits right there. It'll put it all into a spreadsheet for us to track and show us the status of it. There is the ability to do a reservation system where people could go on, see when the parks are available, make a reservation right there, pay the deposit and everything. So it's really, I'm very excited about this program because usually these things are very expensive and their fees are very low. This will be split 50-50 between water and sewer, so it'll essentially be this year $600 for each utility, next year $300, which is not going to impact our budgets in the slightest.
Well, it sounds great, but I have one question. You mentioned, when you first started discussing this, that they've only been in business for a couple of years.
Correct.
How, have there been any complaints? Have there been any issues?
No.
How tried and true?
Okay. So they started as a company during COVID because of the fact that most municipalities did not have an online option. So they came in and they saw a need and they started this company to provide a way to handle paper, non-in-person,
Contactless.
right,
Yeah.
contactless transactions. They are out of Sturgeon Bay, Wisconsin. They have, in the past 2 years, risen. They have a lot of municipalities, not just in Wisconsin, but across the state. I have not seen any complaints. I've met with them at a conference. They work with Workhorse, our accounting software, and Workhorse is endorsing them. If they were not working, Workhorse would not be, because that's the key for me, is that this is going to allow us to integrate all of this right into our software, which is really, they're going to be able to pull the data from Workhorse to say what people owe, and then it'll go back and forth when people make payments. So.
Now, when you said we can go online and do this, can the customer, like, for example, download the file and
Print a copy of your last bill off of there or not? But I'm thinking the answer is yes, but that's a good question. I don't know.
find it?
It may be that it'll allow you to print more like a statement that shows your current balance. I don't know if it'll show the last bill. I don't know the answer to that. However, residents will not need to make the payment through there. If they choose to not pay by credit card, that's fine. It will still allow them to look up and see what they owe. And if somebody did need a copy of their last bill, and if it isn't available, they can always still call us. We can email it or print it for them.
It is a new company, I'm sure. That's their feature.
Yeah, I mean, I saw a webinar, they sent us video, the committee saw a little video of it. It looks like it's very solid user
User-friendly.
interface, very user friendly, a good website. But that's why we didn't want to jump in with all of their features right away. We want to start small with just this one, make sure it's working well before we look at any of the other options that they have.
So on this $600 fee, is there any fee gonna be for the user to
Yes.
pick up?
Yes, if the user pays with a credit card, they will pay a fee exactly the same as they do now. The fee is for the most part going to be like less than what they pay now. I say for the most part because they do their fees slightly different. So some users now may pay a little bit less, but a lot more of them pay more. They do the fees 2 different ways, so.
Is that fee coming to us or is it going
No,
to this
the
company?
user pays the fee.
So is the village gonna be able to recoup any of that $600?
No, this is just, funds that we are going to be getting every year to do the interface and have a website. It'll be basically a website that, will be just, like, we'll be able to link to it. They have widgets on our website that allow. But no, and that cost is for obviously the, use of their servers and the setup and all of that.
I'm just thinking the village should be able to recoup some of that money. It's a convenience fee. And it's not fair to all the taxpayers to pay that fee if they're not using it.
Well, it is taxpayers because utilities.
I mean,
There is a cost that the village will have. There's a lot. I have seen the numbers jump every year. we see about a 15 to 20% increase on the number of people who are paying with a credit card. I am shocked at how many of them do it. And I know we get constant calls where people say, is there a way I can look my bill up online? It's not something we've been able to offer before. And it's really, in this day and age, there are a lot of users who expect it and they're shocked that we don't have it. So, but no, it is just simply going to be an expense of the utility if we go forward. with
It sounds like a great program, but I would still like to see the village recouping that $600 a year.
I mean, that'd be nice for that. Because we are not paying the credit card fees, the user is paying the credit card fees. The processing fee, exactly. That's one of the things that, there are only a few companies out there that process for municipalities, because in most credit card world, the merchant pays the fee. But most utilities, governments don't allow for a municipality to absorb those credit card fees. So these companies came up and they started working for municipalities where they ran the amount and they charged the user the fee instead. And so it's kind of a specialized little niche that is in the municipality world.
When there's updates, there won't be an extra fee that we have to pay, will there?
I am not aware of any, we have asked and there are no additional fees. Now, I'm not gonna say that these costs won't go up because, you know, everything goes up and I'm sure that as a growing company, you know, maybe they're trying to keep their costs down to grow their business. I would assume that over time, inflation is gonna be like anything else. If they get out of line though, somebody else is gonna jump in and take that niche and undercut them. So, I mean, it's like any other business.
Is there a contract involved with this? In other words, if we agree to it, are we sealed for X amount of time?
I do not believe that we have a,
Multi-year. I thought it was just a
it's an
year.
annual,
Okay.
the term is for 1 year.
Okay,
So the first one they have would be effective, July 21st, and it would be 1 year.
okay. Then I move that we approve Public Utility Committee's recommendation to proceed with using HayGov as our payment processing system.
I'll second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion on this? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. 10G, approve Park and Recreation Committee's recommendation to add court rentals to park user agreement, charging $60 per month for a weekly league and $25 for a weekend reservation.
What court is this?
Talking about the basketball and pickleball courts.
So specifically, we had business come to the village and had interest in organizing a league for pickleball. And he asked about using the village pickleball courts. We need to have it on a specific day every week. Right now, we do not have the option on our reservation forms to reserve the pickleball courts or the tennis courts or so the
Is this, the amount for, specifically the pickleball courts, or is it for any field, or how is that been determined?
I think it was just gonna be whatever one, if you wanna rent the basketball court or the pickleball court.
Do we
The
rent
thing
the
is, you
baseball?
don't need to do it.
Yeah, we don't rent the baseball.
for non.
That's nonprofit. Any nonprofit
private
doesn't get
business.
charged a fee.
How much is the baseball field for profit?
We don't have.
We,
Is it
never
set
rented
up
it to-
somewhere? It's not written up somewhere?
No.
No?
We don't have anything set up any way for anybody to reserve any athletic fields at all right now. And to be fair, we talked about the fact that I think that this might be something that Park and Rec might want to spend more time reevaluating. However, for this year, we don't want to discourage this necessarily. That's a decision for you guys.
Right.
But, so you could just simply do it as a 1 year or one-time thing,
Right.
allow it or not to try it, and then have more discussion to look into how we want to handle
Correct.
reservations for the different athletic fields.
Correct.
But if you don't make a decision tonight, it will probably not happen because it's already the middle of June.
Right.
I have a question for Dan. Did we get a number on
Still waiting. I sent his email last week.
what?
I sent a message on his phone and I emailed, see how far it was before. I mean, I just seen on this was, on the internet that, I don't know what it's called, next door, that we had the best pickleball courts in town.
There you go.
The only ones in town.
We're the
You know,
ones.
that's the one that's around the area.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if anybody got a team going, you would like. So,
There we go. I'll make a motion to approve the Park and Rec Committee's recommendation to add per rental to park user agreement, charging $60 per month for a weekly league and $25 for a weekend reservation.
Can we add to that though for 1 year until
Oh,
we
yeah,
get all?
for a trial run
For
for
a
this year.
trial, 12 month,
Do you want to maybe specify?
Yes,
Sorry, we're
Yes.
gonna, this is specifically for the pickleball
Thank you.
courts.
Okay, motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion passes. 10H, approve new alcohol license application for Belgium Plaza due to LLC membership changes.
Oh, so nothing's changing, it's just an agent change. I'll make a motion to approve it.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion passes. Then I'd like to introduce resolution 05-23 compliance and maintenance annual report.
It's introduction.
This is an annual
Falls right
thing
here.
that is required by the sewer department.
well, it's part of the DNR.
The DNR.
It's reported, gives you a grade on how your plant is running, and everything, you check over numerous things and everything, you come up with a foot system. Whatever foot system you fall in, that's what you get, I mean, if you just look in the sounder, I mean, Rhino Lake is going through a big, I mean, they have an F on their CMR report, so they're gonna be spending some bucks out there, so.
Do we get an A?
Well, we're just going through here, and with Paul, he filled it all out. But when I go through here, section thing,
I was looking for that.
yeah, get to last.
We got an A.
It's a couple, there was one section.
That was the first section.
Oh.
Quality and plant.
What did we get? C on
ammonia.
ammonia.
Everything else would be.
I love that it's a grade point average.
I know.
Our
You
GPA.
get a
is-
GPA. And it's an 80, so technically that's
Look at
a,
all these, I'm thinking,
we got an 80% out of 100, so technically that's a B. In any school I've gone to, 80 is still a B.
I don't think they grade on curves.
Well, they should be better.
So part of us submitting this report is we need to have a resolution passed by the board every year. So this is something we do every year.
Okay, I move that, we, I was gonna say, I move that we, approve resolution 05-23 compliance and maintenance annual report.
I would like it.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion passes.
I make a motion. to
Before we
adjourn.
adjourn, I would like to remind everyone that there's a board of review meeting Thursday night from 7 to 9,
Why are you
Which-
looking
which
at
you-
me?
which you all are gonna be here, except for Chris, he got excused.
I beat you to the punch.
but the rest of you will be here. And Julie, are we gonna have that, what do you call it, plan commission meeting?
Didn't get a response, there isn't a forum.
Okay.
I make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
I-
Opposed? Motion passes.